Yes, sir. We can go ahead and get started. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for dialing in today. We are going to start our August meeting of the San Pedro Creek Advisory Committee. And we can go ahead and look at our agenda for today. We have our regular updates from Chris. We're going to have Tommy give an operations and maintenance update and events with Nicole. I will go ahead and start by doing roll call. So if you guys can unmute yourselves when I say your name and let me know that you're here, I would appreciate that. Can we start with our co-chairs, Jerry Geyer?
Here.
Thank you. Kathy Meyer?
Here.
Thank you. Frades Sellingson?
I'm here.
Thank you. Kate Ruckman? Kate, I see you online. Can you hear us? Okay. Veronica Garcia? Andy Rodriguez?
Present.
Thank you, ma'am. Janelle Garcia?
Here.
Thank you. Patty Riddell?
Here.
Thank you. Mark Jensen? Bobby Salas?
Here.
Thank you. Lon Taylor?
Here.
Thank you. Terry Ibanez? Terry, I saw you on the call, so I'm going to mark you present. Ben Perry? Lourdes Galvan? Deb Bolner Pro?
I'm here.
Thank you, ma'am. Chair, we do have a quorum today, so we will be able to continue with our updates. We'll start with subcommittee business. Jerry, did you want to take the agenda from here?
Yeah, one thing that we ought to mention up front is we don't plan on having this particular meeting in September. We're going to have a pre-opening walkthrough for the committee and maybe a few other people. And I guess right now we would plan on having it on September 8th. Is that correct, Kendall?
Yes, sir. Okay,
unless Christine tells us she needs an extra week or two. We'll find out, but they'll tell us that. So what we'll do is get a placeholder out within a week or so, I guess. Send out a placeholder message of some sort. And then Kendall will follow up with the typical meeting details, what time, what location, whatever, because those of you who've been on these tours know that we have to have our protective gear and all sorts of stuff to be ready. So we'll do it that way. If you members and key people, if you want to go on that tour, you should send your names in and confirm that with Kendall. If you're not going, you could tell her also, and that way she'll have an idea of what the population size is to deal with.
And as we get details for that tour, I will absolutely keep you informed with updates as we go.
Okay, good. So we'll be on top of it. Okay, I don't have anything else for subcommittee business. How about you, Kathy?
No, Jerry, I don't.
Okay.
One more item we did want to discuss under this agenda section is the passing of Dr. Carrie Lattimore.
Oh, yes, that's right. You're right. Go ahead.
He was a very big part of the San Pedro Creek project, and we just wanted to let anybody who didn't know that he has passed away, and just generally thank him for his participation and the large role that he played.
Yeah. There were some good articles in the paper on him also.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, are there any citizens to be heard today? I have not received any people who have signed up to comment. All right, thank you. With that, we will move on to the approval of the minutes. Minutes were sent out for the subcommittee review, and if there are any comments or edits, please feel free to suggest those at this time. Otherwise, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I have edits.
Do we have a second for the motion?
I have edits. So when
Deb Pro, I seconded.
Okay, and Jerry, you said you had edits?
yeah, on the subcommittee and alternates, Mark Jensen's name is Jensen. Tony Cantu is he's an alternate, so he should be up in the top group and not under staff and consultants. I don't know if Tony Cañez was with us last time or not. I can't remember that, but normally he would be in that group. Patty Radle's name is misspelled. It's R-A-D-L-E, right, Patty? R-A-D-L-E?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. And then Madi Tamez, would you be along with Tony Cañez up under staff and consultants? Is that where y'all belong?
I believe so. And Monica, Monica Ortega Trevino.
Monica's with us too, right? So Madi Tamez, Tony Cañez, Monica Trevino, Ortega would be because they're all Bexar County staff. So they would be under that group as we. Okay, I didn't see anything else.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. With these non-substantive changes, we have a motion and a second, and I do need a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion passes. And with that, I will turn it over to Chris for a public art update. Chris?
Good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead and jump in today. I have just a brief update, so if you can go to the next slide for me, please. All right. So what you see, last time we talked about, we do have 2 active art pieces going on right now in phase 1. We have Stream, which is the water wall in the area just north of Commerce. And we also have the 5-panel mural. With Stream, at the last meeting, I mentioned that we had completed installation of all the weirs along the water wall feature. We also completed installation of all the light fixtures and the controllers for those. They have now been tested, and we are just waiting to test the waterfall, which is expected to happen here in the next couple of weeks as we are now getting ready to fill up the channel in phase 1. Currently, we have the artist, Adam Frank, scheduled to come down and install the sculpture component, which is the microphone sculpture where the public will be able to speak into it and kind of interact with the light features. So we hopefully by the next meeting we'll have some photos for you all. You can really kind of get a good view of what the feature will look like. Next slide, please. Another update here on the 5-panel mural. The installation has been complete. We are still waiting on some replacement tiles for panel 5. There was a handful of them that we received from the manufacturer that were not the right shade of color. But overall, you can see here the panels are complete. We also completed installation of the lighting And this is a test that was done recently of how those lights will look and the murals will be lit at night. I just wanted to give you all a little sneak peek of what it's going to look like at night. And that's all I had for art. Any questions?
I had a question, Carrie.
Yes, ma'am.
This is Andy Rodriguez. I had a question just about, first of all, thanks. It's really looking wonderful. But the Adam Frank you said would be installing on what date or around what time frame?
So right now we're looking at the first week of September.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Great job.
Yes, ma'am, no problem. Any other questions? All right, then we'll continue on with the design and construction updates. Starting off with phase 1.2. So I want to show you here an image. We've had a lot of conversation about the AME and the soap factory, and we were in the process of reconstructing the west wall. So if you all recall, the west wall of AME was deconstructed to allow the channel wall and other elements to be installed there in line with the concept design that was approved. So we have now completed that. So what you see here in the image on the right. We have also completed the interior restroom walls of the restroom. You kind of see that in the top right image. The curved wall are the exterior walls of the restroom. We've also completed installing the interior walls of the restroom, starting to work on some of the plumbing inside the restroom as well. We've also installed the wider sidewalk on Cameron. For those of you who don't recall, the concept design that was approved for this block showed a widening of the sidewalk on Cameron. So that way there's much more area for people to come and look at the AME and read the interpretive panel that will be along Cameron Street, where you'll be able to get a good view of the cornerstone. So that has now been completed. We are also expecting to get started here on some of the flooring inside of the AME footprint here in the next coming weeks. Next slide, please. We've also started installing some of the light poles along the Paseo adjacent to the Alameda Theater, as well as the railing. We are also proceeding with some of the railing installation around the AME and the artificial turf plaza just to the north. So that's some of the ongoing work that's going to be happening here in the next few weeks. And then we're also starting now the installation of the tile and the high Paseo benches along Calder Alley. As you can see here in the image on the right, we also planted trees in the area just north of Commerce. So you see, so those photos on the left are the ones down in the Guitar Sound Hall. Just kind of behind that image of the tree in the front there is where the sculpture will be installed by Adam Frank. And you see some of our trees there in the upper Paseo. So if you can imagine kind of TPRs in the background of the image, what you're looking at there is you're looking towards Commerce. So this is going to be the area where Adam Frank's stream is going to be. You kind of see a little bit of that concrete wall in the left of the image. Next slide, please. Further down and closer to Nueva Street, what you see here on the right, we've also proceeded with installing trees in the Dolorosa 2 ground block. We've also started pouring some curbs along Nueva Street, and we are now looking at releasing water in 1.2 and 1.3. So that's from Houston to Cesar Chavez at the end of next week. After that, we can proceed with, as I mentioned earlier, testing of the water wall feature, as well as continuing with installation of aquatic plantings in the channel. So still a lot of work to happen here between now and grand opening, but we are very excited to be nearing completion. Next slide, please. And down in phase 2, we have started installing some light pole foundations there as well, particularly between Guadalupe and what we currently call Covert Park. We have also received final elements of that Alamo Crest Gate, so we're proceeding with installing those components. Also at Alamo, we have the gatehouse that's going to, we house all the equipment to operate that gate. We have completed the exterior walls. We've also applied the exterior stucco, and we are now beginning installation of that roof. We've also had a lot of activity, installing some of the irrigation lines. Just completed the irrigation under Alamo. We also have had some additional work going on in Alamo Street itself, doing some of the pours on Alamo Bridge. And I'll jump over to phase 3. So down in phase 3, we are also continuing some water line installation. What we've recently completed is down on the east bank between the railroad bridge and Ceballos. So if point of reference is adjacent to the Acero apartments. We've also, now that we've completed most of the footings for these structural walls, now we can proceed with installing the limestone blocks. So, what you see throughout most of the park, those are the limestone block walls that are in the channels of the creek. So we've started installing those blocks. We have begun down near I-35 and we'll start working our way north towards Ceballos. We've also started some of the storm sewer line installation, also starting near I-35 and working our way north. I did want to make you all aware of something that's going to be going on here at the end of August. So part of our design for phase 3 was widening sidewalks on Ceballos. The widening of that sidewalk will ultimately reduce the width of the road on Ceballos Bridge. So starting at the end of August, we are going to have a lane closure on Ceballos, but that's ultimately going to reflect the reduced width that you will see in the permanent configuration for Ceballos. Just wanted to make you all aware of that change that'll start occurring here at the end of August. Next slide, please. Down in phase 4, I don't have a lot of updates for this one for you all yet. We are still waiting on the Corps of Engineers permit to begin construction. We anticipate that happening here soon. But I did want to just point out one more item of this image that I showed at the last meeting. There were questions about some of the wayfinding signage. So, this will kind of be this is what we call 4.2 from Cesar Chavez to Guadalupe, to El Paso Street. Our 1.3 trail ends there at Cesar Chavez, and our 4.1 trail picks up south of El Paso. So in the interim, we're going to have wayfinding signage on Cesar Chavez. So the red dots that you see in this image are the signage that will direct pedestrians from our trail at the end of Cesar Chavez, route them around to Flores and back over to El Paso, where our 4.1 trail will pick back up. And with that, I will pause for questions. Oh, sorry. Yes, thank you. This is another one. I know there was a lot of questions about some of the street openings. So with 1.2 and 1.3 opening here in October, I did want to give you an update. We will be opening some of those streets. Houston and Graham Street, as well as Nueva Street, are currently scheduled to open at the end of September. Camp Street, still have some work going on in Camp Street. So that one is currently tentatively for the end of this year. Alamo Street, as I mentioned, we still have some activities going on in Alamo. We're showing end of October of this year. In Guadalupe, since that is the southern end of phase 4, we will be starting construction in phase 4. That street will need to continue closed through spring of 2023. So with that, I am complete and I will take questions.
I'm wondering if you have an aerial view that takes it down to Guadalupe Street. You have it from Cesar Chavez down to El Paso, but do you have an aerial view that takes it to Guadalupe?
I can certainly include that in the next meeting. I don't have it in this one, but I do, ma'am, and I definitely can show it at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. This is Janelle. As far as like crosswalks and I'm a resident near the Ceballos area, and with the construction and the road widening, there is a lot of residential, walking dogs and all of that. But eventually, will they have crosswalks, at these kind of entrances to the park? Or identified, whether it be just identified on the streets for pedestrian-friendly walking, and on any of the phases. Like, is that part of the plans?
Yes, ma'am. So at several of our crossings, there's some that are already existing pedestrian crossings that we utilize for our park as well. There are other ones for example, at Cesar Chavez, where kind of in the next phase, we'll be having, they call them hawk systems. There's those flashing beacon lights. We have installed some already up at the beginning near kind of Kingsbury, Santa Rosa, near Christopher Columbus. We also installed another one on Dolorosa. So we do have the striping on the street for the crosswalk, as well as some light, flashing beacon lights. So we do, kind of utilize some existing crosswalks that are there, as well as in the areas where we perhaps cross mid-block and we don't have those existing crosswalks, we do go in with some as well.
Okay, thank you.
If we have starting up at the beginning of the water flow at the mouth of the tunnel and as far south as possible, we have a network of upper and lower paseos, and there's always some way to get to them. And it's as often as at the end of every block, so in the congested part. So you can reach, I can't remember, from Ceballos down, I think we only have one paseo, and you can correct me, Chris, if that's right.
That is correct, sir. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and is it down at street level, or is it more at surface level on the west side? I know that.
It is. Yes, sir. So on from Ceballos down, really from the railroad bridge down, we have one trail on the west bank, and that is up at street level, and the access will be off of Ceballos.
Okay, got it. So it'll be pretty easy to reach, and then of course upstream from there you could get to it as well. So it'll be easy to reach in that sense. Chris, could you do us a favor? After we have the grand opening, and we'll then be concentrating on phase 2 and 3 and 4.1 and stuff, could you get us some updated photographs of the construction and stuff down there? We're not going to go look at that in September, are we?
No, I believe we're just doing phase 1, but we definitely can make sure to include a lot of photos in the next one, sir.
That would be good. Have you either taken any drone pictures lately, or do you anticipate it? You recall we had a couple of drone pictures and some aerial things earlier on in the creek project.
Yes, actually, we are fortunate that one of our engineers at Sarah has a drone, and we have taken a few images here in the last couple of weeks, mostly of the phase 1 area, but we certainly can make that request and get some of the further south segments as well.
That would be good. That also answers Patty's desire to see kind of get a look at how some of this stuff is going. It's be very powerful to supplement your briefing. So we look forward to that. That's great.
Thank you, Jerry, for that comment. I was also interested with this recent comments people made of seeing again an overview, sky view from the entrances along the river, like between that Cesar Chavez and further down. It sounds like I'm understanding that there's not an entry on the west side of the creek down further south past Cesar Chavez.
So there are access points from really Alamo down. The only thing that on the west side is where the trail is at. So that's where you're going to be able to access it. You're going to be able to access them off of Alamo and off of Ceballos, as well as coming up from the existing trails on Alazon. So there are several access points, but since the trail is on the west side, it will be more on the west location where you would access the trail. Does that kind of clarify it a little bit? And we can certainly, I think when we show the aerials, that'll really kind of tell the picture much more simply.
Okay, I look forward to seeing that, particularly with the access to it. Thank you.
Okay, looks good.
All right, thanks for the updates, Chris. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Tommy for an operations and maintenance update.
All right, good morning, everyone. How are we doing this morning? Just two updates for you on the operation and maintenance side. One we've talked about and provided a couple of updates previously on the Rain of Heaven. So I want to provide another update with regards to that. And then also in that same location, what we call our pump pit that actually diverts the water to the Rain of Heavens, and also the main channel. I wanted to provide an update of where we're at with that. Next slide, please. So you may recall with the Rain of Heavens, initially after the project was completed, the waterfall is located at the very top of the Rain of Heavens, which then allows that water to fall over those stainless panels. We've had some issues since the project completion due to algae and things of that nature. We did, back in 2020, engage a vendor to come out and apply a protective coating. The coating was essentially tried to minimize the amount of algae buildup and the amount of resources, if you will, or staff that would have to clean this on a set frequency. In 2021, we did have that protective coating removed due to the performance of that coating did not meet our expectations. Overall, staff, while they were servicing or cleaning the panels, the frequency remained the same. But then also that coating started to flake off of those stainless panels. So overall, the River Authority had determined that it wasn't meeting our expectations, and at the vendor's cost, removed that protective coating for us. So since that time, we've continued to manage the Rain of Heavens on a bi-weekly basis. So every 2 weeks, our staff come in. You can maybe see in this photo here with the man lift, and we pressure wash the entire stainless panels. Just to help try to manage the algae and keep those in a good, presentable condition. Definitely been a significant resource draining and an unexpected requirement as part of this project. River Authority, we've also evaluated some other opportunities or options, and this group may recall that I believe in the original design of the Rain of Heavens, the water trough was actually designed to be below the stainless panels. So versus from being mounted up on the very top and having that waterfall effect down those stainless panels, the original design was to be located at the very bottom of those stainless panels. You still would get that waterfall effect. It just wouldn't necessarily be from the top. It would actually occur from the bottom, roughly about 7 to 8 feet in height, where that water would still flow through that trough and fall onto the concrete surface. So our proposal is to actually relocate the Rain of Heavens, remove that water from running over that stainless panel surface, and relocate it as originally designed in the bottom. What this will do will greatly reduce the resources, the requirements to pressure wash and maintain those panels. It'll allow it to be a little bit more presentable to the general public. So definitely reduce the resources overall, be more presentable. It allows us to actually reinstall the scrim that was part of this project. So with that process, we had to remove the scrim from the Rain of Heavens. This would allow us to put this scrim back in place as well. So currently, that's in design right now. We expect, hopefully, within the next week or two, that design would be completed. With that, that would be something that River Authority and partnering with the county would pick up as far as the funding to relocate the Rain of Heavens or relocate the trough. So I wanted to provide an update on that and an opportunity to discuss this again. And our proposal would be to remove the Rain of Heavens from the top, from that water falling down those stainless panels, to actually having that trough on the bottom of those stainless panels, which would then reduce the amount of servicing. Over the years, with all the pressure washing we have done, we really can see more wear and tear and greatly reducing the life expectation of those stainless panels due to the pressure washing required.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts or discussions on that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next slide. Wanted to also provide an update to everyone today. So down in our pump pit, we have two 10-inch submergible pumps. They're located down in what we call our vault. This is the water that comes in from the tunnel, from the San Pedro Creek tunnel. It fills up this vault, and then our pumps, they they kick on. So they alternate times when they kick on, and essentially provide that water that we see in the Rain of Heavens, but also in the main creek itself. We started to notice that there was some cracking in the piping. that these pumps would discharge through. And in this image here, I hope that everybody can see it. It's actually a bracket that's welded to this pipe that's mounted to the concrete wall. And you can see that there's some linear cracks in this pipe. We did engage a vendor to come in for an interim repair, so a temporary repair. They did come in, they re-welded these cracks. And right now we're doing good. The cracks are sealed up. We're not losing any water, but we did engage HDR as the original design team for this, and just to better understand the material and the design for this piping. Overall, long term, obviously, our long term solution is to get this repaired in more of a permanent way. So again, like I said, right now we did an interim, a temporary repair, and just ground the cracks out. We had a welder come in and weld those cracks, but we think that there's an opportunity for a longer term repair that we are investigating with HDR. We will let y'all know how those conversations go as we continue to move forward, but we are just now starting those conversations with HDR and looking into that design a little closer. Any questions with that at all? Other than that, San Pedro Creek Phase 1 is going very well. Staff was able to transition and manage since the big freeze that we had, and some of the material that we had seen decline due to that. Overall, everything has been functioning extremely well on site. Staff have had very minimal issues. The tiles have been replaced. So all of that is looking very well around the Manantial and the 12th generation benches. I believe all the art features have been installed with the creek lines, and all of that has been going very well as well. So that's all I had for an update today, unless anybody had any questions.
Looks good.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Tommy.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thanks, Tommy. Now I'm going to turn it over to Nicole for an events update.
Hello, everyone. Just a brief about the Historic Plaza Days. It is the third Fridays from June to September. I did have the picture of Julian. He is our public art intern. He does a lot of these events for San Pedro Creek, so he's on the call. So I just wanted to point him out. He's been doing an amazing job.
Okay.
And next. We just had our drum circle this week on August 9th. We do it about 4 times a year. We finally brought it back to San Pedro Creek. It was at Legacy because of all the construction. Here's just a picture. We had about between 40 to 50 participants. It was a really great turnout. Next. Oh, that's a little video.
I wanted to say we had a SAISD board meeting on the 9th, and at some point somebody said, what is that noise? It sounds like drumming.
You
And,
could hear it?
Yes, but it was delightful. So I was glad to let them know what it was. So it was good advertising for a lot of people to learn about the drum circle on the creek.
Well, the next one will be in November, and there was a lot of dancing this time, and people were really getting into it. So
yeah, it's very nice.
Glad to hear that.
It wasn't disturbing. It's just like we knew we heard something that was usual. And so, like I said, I was glad to be able to tell them what was going on.
Thank you for pointing that out. Upcoming events. Julian is helping out with the virtual events. We still have a couple virtual events because of the construction, but we have Get Creative. It's scheduled for August 19th. Or August 26th. We're working on that final date, but it will be with the Texas Fashion Industry Initiative. We will be filming for our next Creekside Chats with Ruby City, and that will be in September, and hopefully we'll have it ready in September to have virtually on the website and social media. And then just a quick update on the grand opening. We had a wonderful tour with the county yesterday. We walked through with our event management team. We have some great ideas coming for this weekend. And I know we're not meeting in September, but I'm sure we can send out an update to all of y'all with the run of show once it's finally approved by all parties. But we're really excited. It's coming together, and there's going to be a lot of different fun events that whole weekend. But just a reminder, the Friday, October 14th will be the ribbon cutting. And then Saturday and Sunday we'll be activating all along the open park phase 1. So we'll have different exciting events, food trucks, name it. We're going to have it all out there. Next. And if there's any questions. Great. Thank y'all.
Okay, thank you, Nicole.
All right, we will wrap up the meeting now. Thanks for dialing in, everybody. Can I hear a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Kathy Meyer.
All right, thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Patty. Can I hear a vote, please? Everyone in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
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 All right, with that, we will go ahead and adjourn this meeting. And please keep an eye out for a few emails from us as we move closer to our September tour date. And I will let you know as soon as I get more information on that. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Kendall.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.